Welcome back, everybody. It's Untyper and today I got a special one for you. So I was on mtgadex.net just checking out some deck lists, and I came across one that was played by a mythic player in the top 100 about a month ago, and it was super popular when Mill was very prevalent, and so their sideboard consisted of Phoenix of Ash, Ox of Agonis, and all four of the 2 mana guy. I forget its name, but like 2 or 3 copies of Chainweb Arachneer, and it just seemed like it was really geared towards the mill strategy in standard. But since that's not really the meta necessarily, it's still prevalent, but it's not super powerful. Like rogues are still pretty popular, but I haven't seen a Ruin Crab in a super long time, so the meta's definitely changed a little bit. Either way, this deck seems really fun, so I decided to give it a go, and I made a little bit of adjustments, which I'm not going to go over the differences, but I will just break down the deck for you really fast. So we are playing Zerda as our companion, so every permanent in our starting deck has to have an activated ability, and it reduces all of the costs of the activated abilities by 2, so we get to abuse their effects for cheaper cost and be able to multi-ability every turn. And we're also playing 2 copies of Zerda in the main. I do not have the 4th copy, which is why it's not here, but if I did, I would play it. We have 4 copies of Shock to be able to hit our opponent's creatures in their face. We're really trying to control the board until turn 4, so we have a lot of removal. We have Fire Prophecy as well to be able to deal 3 damage to target creature at instant speed, and also be able to shuffle away a card that we don't need in our hand to draw a card. We have 4 copies of Thundering Rebuke to be able to deal with creatures and planeswalkers, which is a really good card right now. We have 4 copies of Mazemind Tome. This is going to let us set up our draw, scry, and just draw cards in general. It's going to gain us some life against the aggro. It does a lot in this deck. We have 3 copies of Zerda. This is going to help us find our mana off the top, and it's also a really nice beater. And when we have Zerda in play, her ability only costs 4, so we're more likely to double activate on this with Zerda in play. And which brings us to Ironcrag Feed. This is what we need to try to buy to turn 4 with. By dealing with all of our opponent's creatures, we want to get to turn 4 so we can Ironcrag Feet, add the 7 mana, and then we can just jam Chromatic Orrery. So that's what this deck is. It's Naya Turbo Orrery. So what we're trying to do is ramp into this Orrery. It's going to allow all of our mana to be spent any way we want to. It taps for 5. It draws cards. It does so much in this deck, and we can play it as early as turn 4 in this deck. And when we jam this, then our Kenrith becomes better because we can use all 5 of his abilities, which are all reduced by Zerda. And we also have 3 copies of Ugin in the top end because on turn 5 we can ramp into Ugin with Ironcrag Feet. And that is the deck in a nutshell. In the mana base, there's just a mix of basics, pathways, Fable Passages. Crawling Barrens is a nice one. When you activate Crawling Barrens and it becomes a creature, the next time you go to activate the ability, it only costs 2 because of Zerda. So you can actually put a lot of counters on this creature in the late game and beat your opponent down with that. And then sideboard, I made some adjustments since the meta, again, has shifted a little bit. I'm not going to say that it's a perfect sideboard. I mean, feel free to experiment with it, but I will leave the link down to the Ether Hub in the description so you can check out the deck and try it out yourselves. And let's take this in the arena and see if we can turbo out some Chromatic Orreries and jam some Ugins and Kenriths with Naya Turbo Orrery. Alright, going into game 1 against Demented Dunebug, and our opponent is on the play. Our opening hand seems pretty cool. We have our colors, we have some removal, we have some creatures, and the Orrery. So if we can find an Ironcrag Feet and some red sources, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're in some pretty good shape here. I'm gonna start this out as a red source. Pass it up. Alright, nothing from our opponent, so interesting. We'll go ahead and play this first pathway for the green side. We can hold up the Fire Prophecy if they flash in any creature or play anything. I wish this hit Planeswalkers too. It would be so good. It would be so good in this format. Thieves Guild Enforcer. Well, I'm gonna definitely just kill that. Shuffle away one of the Radhas. We don't need both. So we want to try to get as much value out of both of these creatures. Our opponent might be holding up a counterspell. They might have Drown in the Lock, but we only have 2 cards in our graveyard, so they would have to play like hard counter magic to be able to counter anything. Well, we'll go ahead and play the white side of that. Guess we want to max out on our mana use, so we'll play a Radha. Our opponent didn't have a counterspell, but they might have like a Heartless Act or something. Yep. Alright, so our opponent's playing a little bit more control-y, some more interaction, so this is going to be a harder matchup, probably. We play very few creatures, but the ones we do are pretty important to the strategy. Alright, let's play this for a second red source, and we have our third for Ironcrag Feet if we draw into it, which I'll actually try jamming this Maze Mind Tome now and see if it resolves. We can start scrying and find it. Seems cool, we'll pass it up. Our Thundering Rebuke is a little bad against this matchup. Most of the creatures have flash. Yeah, we can kill a Slitherwisp, but that's cool. They play it on their main phase, which is different. Alright, so we're going to scry. Yeah, we don't want that. We'll put a stop on our upkeep, though. Okay, it didn't work. Whatever, wow, we naturally hit it. That's awesome. Cool. On a turn where our opponent's tapped out, Ironcrag Feet into Orrery seems really good here. And we have the mana, we can buy our Zerta and pass it up. That is crazy mana use. Like, wow, that was a jump. That was a huge jump. And most our opponent accomplished was a main phase Slitherwisp, which was really awkward. They could have held up a counter spell or something, and then just flashed this on our turn. That would have made a lot more sense. Main phase Brazen Borrower, so they're trying to find lands. Okay. It's cool, though, that they didn't even use the Petty Theft mode and bounced our Chromatic Orrery. We'll keep the stop on our upkeep. Alright, opponent gets in for 3. We're gonna scry. Don't think we need that land. Remove the stop. Kenrith is a good draw. So first we get rid of the Slitherwisp. We're gonna play our Kenrith. Do we have anything in the grave that we can bring back? We do. We have a Radha. Doesn't have a way to have haste, though. I mean, I can give this haste, but I can't reanimate or anything like that. So I think we play our Zerta. Force our opponent to have to interact with one of these. Otherwise, they're in for a shit show. We're about to draw cards, place counters, reanimate our stuff. This is really cool. Yep, there's the Drown in the Lock. Double Drown in the Lock, okay. That's brutal. Okay, so we're going to play our second Radha. And we actually can't draw a card here. So I guess we draw a card naturally. Found a land, which is cool. It's a temple. We can scry that other land to the bottom we do not need. And our life total is pretty high. I could afford to take a couple punches from this maybe. Though I won't have a chance. It might not resolve otherwise. Might as well just keep it off the board so our life total stays high. And if our Zerta lives to see our next turn, damn, never mind. It's going to start drawing some cards, but that's okay. Hopefully we find something. Ooh, you love to see it. Okay. Well, might as well play it out. Our Orrery doesn't do anything. As of just yet. We still have a chance of just, like, top decking into Ugin or something, so, like, we still have a shot. Yep, there's the Brazen Borrower. Still not understanding why our opponent is playing all this at main phase. It's really it's not really necessary, but do you, I guess. Ooh, Crawling Barrens, that's a good one. So I mean, I guess we try to play this again. It resolves. God bless you. Alright, Slitherwisp for our opponent. Yep. They get to draw. Alright, might as well put the counters here. We're not going to have it become a creature. Alright, this is getting close. Yikes. We need something better here. Alright, well I think I'm just going to start getting in this Crawling Barrens. Alright. They can only take so many hits from that before they die, so if they try to all-out attack, unless they have something to block that they can flash in or something. Yep. So 5, 6, 7. They have a flyer that does not block our Crawling Barrens. Though I think we really need to find a Kenrith so we can gain some life. Alright, another land. They leave up a blocker. And then we take 6 in the air, so we're just dead. Damn. Good game, opponent. Okay, we are on the play, and we have a lot of red sources, so we could ramp out with the Ironcrag feat. And basically everything in our hand is red, so we can probably get away with this. Up against boats. Okay. Well, let's start with this red source. We want to hold up the white just in case we draw into Kenrith. We do have 9 white sources in the deck, though, so we should be able to theoretically play it. Pass it up. Hope our opponent plays some creature on their second turn. Yeah, up against mono, up against white, something. Green-white. Earth Melodus is good. Alright, well, we found Kenrith. So I think we play this out as a white source. Player Zerta. Pass it up. Cetacean Boy. Okay. So we have something to kill. Well, let's Fire Prophecy that. We'll shuffle away one of the Ironcrag feats. And yeah, I think we actually play the Temple. I want to have the land. Fire Prophecy seems good. Our opponent's most likely just going to block, so I'm not going to attack. But we want to keep the Cetacean Champions off the board for as long as possible. So we're up against Bant Auras, or Bant Enchantments. It's a cool deck. Haven't seen this in a while. Alright, there's an All-Seed. So we're going to have to deal with that first. Pacifism. Alright, that's cool. I mean, I still get the passive. I could still activate my abilities too? Yeah, alright, this is fine. Cool, cool, cool. So play this out as the red source. We do have Kenrith. I think for now, what we do is Fire Prophecy this All-Seed. Decline, we're not going to shuffle anything. And I'm actually going to hold off on the Thundering Rebuke, so for now I'm just going to buy Zerta. In case they permanently deal with this one. Yep. Calyx is good. Alright, another Pacifism. Seems pretty good. Play this out. Cool. So I'll just go ahead and give this haste. And force them to trade with the wall. Right, opponent plus is first. Frogify. That's like the best possible answer to Kenrith. And they get us a Teshian Champion draw out of it. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And they draw a land. Okay, cool. So they didn't find... Kenrith costs 5. Zerta costs 3. Calyx costs 4. Teshian Champion costs 3. So I can do 4 on the Ugin, get rid of everything except Kenrith. And that'll probably just be enough, right? Cool. Get my Kenrith. And pass it up. Opponent does get to pacify again. Or Elspeth Conquers Death is pretty good. I wonder what she goes for. Goes for Ugin? Okay. It's understandable. Still gets pacifism as well. Yep. Same deal, I still get all the activations with it. Which is cool. I'll go ahead and play Zerta first. And grab a green source. I could give it haste and attack, but I'm actually going to hold up and put the counters on it. On the Zerta. If I had an Orrery, this would be a much different situation. That's cool. Yeah, that's really good. What does this let us do? Yep. Alright. Well, go ahead and start putting counters here. We'll gain some life as well. Another Ugin. Unfortunately, it costs 10 this turn. So I think what we do... actually... I want to try to get rid of the Shimmerwing, but the All-Seed's there, so... Perfect. Perfect. Our opponent did exactly what I wanted them to do. Cool. So yeah, they're going to get it back with the Elspeth Conquers Death, but this way, I'm not sure if this would have went on the stack first, or if the Shimmering would have went on the stack first, so I didn't want them to be able to buy back their ECD. Alright, so they get Teshian Champion back instead. Drew a land. Now we're in some pretty cool shape. We're gonna go ahead and gain some more life. We're gonna try to keep ourselves out of lethal for a while. Put another counter here. And another counter here. And now for now, I think I just get in for 7. Just keep beating down our opponent. Yep. Just 1? That's fine. So we'll go ahead, put some counters on the Zerta, and then give it trample. Still beat our opponent down quite a bit, and we'll pass it up. Archon is pretty good. Alright, that's our opponent's turn, so we're going to go ahead and gain life. Opponent good games us, and they give it up. Good game, opponent. Alright, opponent's on the play. Our opening hand is not super good. We're going to go ahead and mulligan this. Once we have the opportunity to. Alright, sweet. Now we can mulligan. And this hand is still, I mean, it's still not that great, but it's got a lot, it's got a better a better plan, I guess. Alright, land is not super great for us. We'll go ahead and play it out as a red source. Okay. Temple of Deceit for our opponent. Alright, we found Radha. That's cool. That'll help. Yeah, we'll actually just still play this out. Just play out our mountain. Up against Sultai. Could be Dimir Control. Or Dimir Flash. Rogues, whatever. Whatever is your fancy. Alright, 3 open mana is definitely not a counterspell, right? Let's try it. Alright, it sticks. Maybe it's a Heartless Act? No. Okay, so we're up against Rogues. Brazen Bar was probably the least threatening card they could have played. Slither Wisp on the main phase. Everybody keeps doing this. I don't know why players keep doing this. Don't do that. We have the plains in our hand, so we'll play this out as a green source. Not super relevant, regardless. But we are going to Thundering Rebuke and get rid of that Slither Wisp now before they can get any value out of it. Alright, nothing from our opponent. 1 card engraved, so the Drown in the Lock if they might be holding up is not relevant. Let's try Maze Mind Tome first. Resolves. Get a Radha, they're probably going to counter that. Ah, I guess not. I wonder what they're holding up. Just the Brazen Borrower? Okay. We'll pass it up. Probably want the other land on top, so we're not going to worry about scrying with the Maze Mind Tome. Well, that's a bummer. Yeah. Okay. That had a kick for that to be relevant, so took up most of their turn at sorcery speed. Ooh, they had a land drop too. That's pretty good. Still gonna go ahead and take this draw. Play out the red source. See if Kenrith can stick. Yep. Go ahead and give it haste and trample. And if they're gonna kill it, they're gonna kill it. Okay, they take the 5. Pass it up. That makes sense. Didn't feel like trying to trade with it or chump. Opponent is packing a decent amount of removal, so I can expect them to get rid of this Kenrith pretty fast. Alright, they get rid of 2 pretty okay cards. Temple for our opponent. Get their scry action. Go ahead. And they like what is on top. We are going to scry and see if we are the same. Ironcrag Feat's pretty cool. It does get us into our Orrery, but we could just naturally cast that ourselves at this point. Remove the stop. Scry again. Yeah, I mean, I guess we take the land. Try to cast the Orrery and see if it resolves. Actually, we're still 4 cards away from them having their Thieves Guild Enforcer have Death Touch, so I'm actually going to attack first and see what our opponent does. Alright, awesome. So they're just going to take the damage. Alright, so let's try to cast this Chromatic Orrery. And it sticks. Awesome. So I can just pass it up. At the end of turn, I can reanimate a creature. Or draw a card, whatever we feel like doing. can also gain life, which is fantastic. Yep. Go to box. Could have brought back the Radha to block, but I didn't want to trade with the Slither-Wisp just yet. In response to them trying to target something, I'll be able to bring something. I'll just be able to bring it back, depending on what they grab. What's in our graveyard anyway? Okay. So if they go for Radha, I can just reanimate it. I'll just go ahead and steal that activation from you, buddy. Yeah, there's Drown the Lock. Now we're pretty very dead. Okay. So what wins us the game here? Still Orrery on top? Are you kidding me? Crazy. Put that to the bottom. Actually, we still just win. We just get in with Radha and activate it a bunch of times. Good game. Woo! Man, that was close. That was really close. Welcome back, everybody. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. We went 2-1, and since you made it this far already, you might as well consider leaving a like down below and a comment to let me know what you thought of today's video. And if you don't like today's video, leave a suggestion down below for a card suggestion or a deck archetype you'd rather see me play on camera. And hit that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. And yeah, the deck was pretty cool. Getting the triple right is really complicated in this deck because you're trying to split your resources so many ways for Radha and for the Kenrith to have white. So we're mostly a mono red deck splashing in the green and the white. So it kind of complicates the mana base a little bit. If I had 2 more Temple of Abandons, it might have been a little bit better on the mana. It wouldn't have been stretched so thin, which is why I went up a few copies of Mountains instead. Kenrith was really cool though. Being able to have the activated abilities cost significantly less was very fun. Ugin always puts in the work. Ironcrag Feet is a card, everybody. It still ramps into a lot of things pretty quick. And the turns were the games where we actually got to Chromatic Orrery, Ironcrag Feet. That was really cool. Having Orrery in play, drawing some cards, all that good stuff. But yeah, so anyway, that's the deck. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.